Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jared Evaluator. So now it's time for us to enter our first section of the meeting, that is prepared speeches. So today we have our one and only speaker, Jorge Alba, and the topic of his speech is leadership development. It's reflect on your path. In order to complete his leadership development path, Jorge Alba will present a 10 to 12 minutes speech to share his experience completing his path. He will use this opportunity to reflect on how far he has come and summarize the skills that he has learned and developed. Jorge Alba will follow the TDEX format to present his speech. Let's welcome our growing member, Jorge Alba.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Tonight, I will be delivering a very different presentation than what I have delivered in the past few months. Tonight, I'm not planning a presentation by itself. I'm planning more of a conversation. I'm going to follow the style of the TEDx presentations. And I'm going to talk about in different ways with several of you that have known me since the time I began my path at Toastmasters back in 2019. This will be a guided presentation. It will be different, but it will be fun. Therefore, be ready to answer my questions because I will be choosing one of you, pretty much like the Topic Toastmaster chose you during the Topic Toastmaster presentations. Although officially I joined Toastmasters, or I joined this club on March of 2020, in reality, my Toastmaster path started much earlier. It was really back in 2012 while I was working for an oil and gas company that we have a mentoring club and we meet every week, twice a week during lunchtime, and we discuss leadership books, self-development books, different things. And I found a great mentor that encouraged me to continue growing in my personal and professional life and to develop especially my communication and my leadership skills. One of the many important recommendations that he gave me, and he gave me many, he said is, if you develop and improve your communication and presentation skills, this alone by itself will be a great catalyzer to advance your career and accelerate your professional growth. He even suggested at that time in 2012 that you should join a gated group like Toastmasters. How many of you have received the same type of advice before and never acted on that? Never, or you did exactly what I did? Nothing. That's what I did in 2012. So let me ask Rhonda, did it happen to you at any time?
Repeat that. What happened? I'm sorry.
That somebody gave you an advice and for whatever reason, you never took that advice. You never took it seriously. You didn't act on that advice.
Yes, I did. And actually it was early in my career as well. I actually wanted to, was working some environmental projects in the chemicals industry. Long story short, my mentor at the time was an environmentalist. I was working environmental projects and he suggested that I needed to obtain my PE because he was a professional engineer, but that wasn't the way I wanted to go. Long story short again, I told him that I was interested in becoming a lawyer. I wanted to be an environmental lawyer. He said, we don't need any more lawyers, we need engineers. So I compromised with him and I said, okay, I will get my MBA. And that's what I did.
Right. Well, you see, so we all have been in that situation. And in my case, my excuse was that I was too busy advising my career that I didn't have time to join Toastmasters. So I never acted on that advice. And that was exactly what I needed at that time. So several years later, when I took a leadership role with the city of Sugarland, that's when I realized, at that point, I really realized that I should have followed my mentor advice. And if I had done it, probably at this time, my communications and leadership skills will have been much better and they have grown much faster than what I was trying to do during the past 10 years. I probably won't have been stuck in jobs that I was stuck between 2015 and 2017, and I would have progressed a lot more. So you see, sometimes when you don't listen to somebody, you pay for that later. So when I started with the city of Sugar Land, I realized that working for local government in a leadership position require a lot more than just mastering your technical capabilities. That was the only one of the many requirements in my career advance, but it wasn't the most important one. So let me ask Akim, by yes or no, or let's say a percentage. How much percentage of public speaking and communication do you think that are necessary when you are working for government?
In terms of percentage, I would probably say above 90.
You are right. I guess you agree with me. So that's exactly what I realized when we were working in public government or in local government, that your communication and presentation skills are much more important than any technical knowledge to succeed in government. More than you can imagine, close to probably a 90% as you were saying, because you need to communicate at work daily with public officials, with residents, with the staff, with other public agencies. And you cannot only communicate in one style of communication or with one type of knowledge, because nobody is going to understand you if you always use the same language that you use to communicate with engineers. If you go to talk to residents or to political figures, you have to switch your message and you have to adapt almost on hourly basis. So during my first year at the city of Sugar Land, I had more public speaking and more changes in my communication styles than I had in the past 10 years of my career. So finally, everything made sense for me. I realized that I should have joined Toastmasters back in 2012 when my mentor strongly recommended, and I didn't act on that. And simultaneously with that, I realized that I needed to update my PMP certification, that I needed the hours to validate my PMP. And then everything makes sense for me. I found Southwest Project Management that not only was here in the city of Sugar Land, was very close to work, but also I could get the continuing education hour that I needed for my PMP certification while helping to improve my communication skills and as a bonus, delivering or improving my leadership skills. So if you remember from my first icebreaker about running marathons, through all the different speeches that I have done about things like loyalty, teamwork, leadership styles, multidisciplinary leadership in public government, very useful for SOMA, leading your team, effective coaching, how to be, what are the requirements to be a great mentor and a great protege. And even one of the favorites of this club, I know, that's what I'm bringing here, managing difficult audience. Do you remember how much gaiety we had during that exercise? Did you remember anything from that day, Kim? Give me a couple of sentences.
I remember that there were a lot of distractions from people that were having side conversations, people that were talking on their phone, people that were challenging you regarding your views. So it was really, really a difficult speech to give, but you did a great job.
And that, I mean, that was fun, but I required a lot of work, not only from me, but from the people that helped me planning that, because we really have to get a lot of people involved planning all those distractions, and you guys did great. So also I had speeches where I discussed technical project management, like managing your time, setting and planning, and improving how to achieve project goals in public works, planning, designing, and building municipal projects. And the path for the last 2.5, 3 years was full of learning and growth. So did you, any of you, and just raise your hand and give me a couple of sentences if you want, remember any of those speeches that I made at this group during the last couple of years? Did any of these speeches have a positive and a practical impact in your life? Nobody? Akim?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I'm glad that I made the difference, at least in your
Oh
life.
yeah, no, you made a huge difference.
I hope I can make
Actually,
it.
I've shared some of the ideas that I got from you because you actually have you have a way to bring simplicity to a very complex project, and you will present it and deliver it with passion, deliver it with a lot of energy. So I really like that, because particularly there was a time you talked about planning, and you gave examples of how good planning actually helped you to be able to execute the project successfully. There was a time you talked about you link project management to running a marathon. And I actually liked the analogy that you drew during that speech. And you have a way. You would talk about something very complex, simplify it, and you still smile, just like you're doing right now. I thought your ability to deliver a presentation in a believable manner is one of your strengths. Just keep it up. Back to you.
Thank you, Kim. I'm glad I did the difference in a few of your lives. But not only that, I mean, at every single presentation, I learned it more during the preparation, during the planning, the delivery of the presentation. But especially, I learned during the evaluation that you gave me. That's what I pick up the most information from the meetings. That's what really helped me advancing my career at that fast pace, or advancing my communication skills. That is very important, very, very important. So another aspect that I really served my purpose of growing professionally and personally was serving a role as an officer. Being able to be an officer, being able to participate at the leadership level within Toastmasters. From VP of Public Relations to Secretary to Sergeant of Arms, I learned so much about how to run a club, how to run an organization, how to plan events, how to advance my career working with others. That really that's what made the big difference in my life and my professional life and my personal life. So as a result of this, I really grow my communication skills to the maximum level, to the point that now I'm a liaison officer for the city during emergency management and a public outreach coordinator for the engineering department. So my communications increased so much than the point of contact for meeting with residents, with the HOAs, with the levy districts. So I jumped to a point that I wouldn't even imagine 3 years ago. So in conclusion, the last 3 years since I joined Toastmasters has been nothing but an opportunity for me for professional and personal growth. My only regret is not having the advice of my mentor back in 2012. So tonight, my call of action to you is don't do what I did. If you really want to advance your career, follow that advice from your mentor. Join a Toastmaster club, perhaps 2 or 3. The more, the merrier. Participate actively, completing not one, but several paths. And focus on completing your education because it really helps you. But more important, get involved as an officer so you can get from others at the same time that you are getting to others. And my final reflection tonight is the more you put into Toastmasters, the more you will receive back. Thank you very much, Mrs. Toastmaster.
But that's fine. If I were him, I would probably do the same.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
My cell phone saved my life.
Okay, now thank you, Mr. Timer. So now we are going to go towards our next section. That's going to be our impromptu speaking. And for that, I'm going to invite our table topic master, Anthony Ali.
Thank you very much, Madam Rafi. Toastmaster for the evening. You're doing a fantastic job. With that, this is a very important moment. You do realize that most of your speeches that will have great impact are impromptu. Someone drops by, ask a question. How you answer will determine whether you come across with great presence, whether you have an impact, whether you are able to communicate effectively in a way that actually elevates your own unique marketing disruptor, or whether you just drown away and making sure that you become as one of the voices that someone doesn't really want to hear. Because you're here tonight, you're going to get a chance to practice it. Therefore, you will not be one of those that will be forgotten. I am looking forward to hearing you present your speech. Who would like to be the first volunteer? You get 1 minute to 2.5 minutes to give your first answer. Who is the one? Raise your hand. I'm looking forward to that hand. Where is the hand? Come on. Is it Ben? Ben, you ready? All right, I saw that, Ben. Right, good job, good job. Here's my question to you, is in the chat also. How would you increase gaiety in your company? By making sure they are in the 2% of organizations to succeed in any economy rather than follow the more popular 98%.
Wow. First of all, I think to be able to, in this age of Zoom, where everybody's in their little corner, I would first try to see that we become a team. And to do that, there has to be some trust. And for trust to come about, we have to be transparent. When all those three factors are met, then we become a team. And there are other factors that would, enable that team structure to take hold. The ones that's established, then we start talking about everybody's input. Now, before everybody does their best, I would say it would be important to know the end goal, the purpose of why the team is together. And so when we have that end goal in mind, and we'll make sure everybody feels a part of the team and not just a cog in the wheel, I think productivity, there's a chance that productivity would increase. And so those are the little steps I would take to make sure that we're a team, we work together, and then with that, we would then be able to increase our productivity and effectively. What was the question again? Let me round up.
You did a great job of answering. I think congratulations with that, Ben. Wonderful. You jumped in, you moved out of your comfort zone, and you took your best shot. I loved it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
To let everyone know, I'm also pasting the questions in the chat in case you're not sure what the question is. It's in the chat. You can find it right there in print. Next time, who is the second person? I'm so excited. Following Ben, who is going to be the next person to take this on as your speech? Is it going to be Michael? Michael, are you there? Are you ready, or are you driving? You might not be able to. Let's see.
I just got home.
Oh, you're in. Good. Woo-hoo. Good job. I'm so glad you're there. Bravo. Therefore, you're ready for this one, Michael. In the spirit of continued gaiety, how would you ethically persuade a sponsor to buy from your company instead of your competitors?
Thank you, Toastmaster Anthony. In order for me to be able to convince my competitor to buy from my company or other customers to buy from my company, first of all, the first thing I'm going to do is to showcase my product and show them the importance of my product, what the end game, what they can benefit from my product. Let them know what the advantage of my product over my competitors. One, what my product can do. Let's say, for instance, I'm marketing soft drinks. I'm going to let the other competitor is also marketing a soft drink. And I'll let my customers or my sponsors know that my own soft drink does not have a lot of sugar. I'm going to compare my content with the content of my ingredient with that of my competitor to let them know what mine has and what theirs doesn't have. And again, what they tend to benefit from my product rather than getting from the other product. I.e. sugar content, I.e. carbonated content. I'm going to bring all those in play and also talk to them about the energy booster that my product also having, which the other product might not have. So I'll use all those to convince my competitor, my sponsor, they should buy into my product instead of my competitors. Over to you, Toastmaster. I don't know if I've answered the question.
Bravo, Michael. I loved it. You took the shot, and I especially like that you use a special element. I want everyone to catch this. The element is bring out a specific case study, specific example, and that connects your answer when you are given any kind of response to someone. Give a specific example, a concrete example, a picture, an image, something that will stay with them. Great job with that, Michael. Congratulations. Next person. Who is going to be? I see Avi raising his hand. Avi, I'm watching you, and I'm going to ask you to think about this question and answer it. Why do the most successful athletes and executives have coaches when they are already skillful?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. There is no limit to skill, and we all are always in a path where we can learn something new every single day. Remember a time when we go to office and say that, hey, today we learned something new. Even the coaches and the mentors do have their own coaches. And one thing that everybody should be knowing, even though they have coaches, is to be brave enough to try something new. And that's one of the key things a good coach and a good mentor will always recommend your mentee or protege. And let me tell you one thing, at today's date, we need to be brave enough to try something new and be bad at it, because we are competing against our own image, and that image that we make in our mind, thinking, oh, that person, the next Avi who's going to be in a meeting in next 5 minutes has to perform so that he can bring in revenue, he can generate this. Coaches, mentors are the one who stand by you and be the safety net when you fail. So always, even when you're successful, make sure you follow what your coach says. Example, today we have one of the greatest leader of Sugarland, Jorge. He mentioned that he too had a coach. With that, I would like to wrap up here. Thank you. And back to you, Mr. Table Topics.
Great job. Wonderful. Thank you, Avi. Some of you might not have heard this, but one time I saw an interview with the senior executives at Google, and every one of them mentioned that they had coaches to help them increase the company impact and their personal impact. I was shocked and surprised, and when I shared with others, everyone in the room was in silence, like they just for the first time realized that even some of those that are succeeding great in business have regular coaches. Congratulations, Avi, for taking a shot on that. With that, and keeping up with the spirit of gaiety that we've got going, that joyful exuberance, who is going to be the next person that's going to answer the question? Who is the next person that's going to answer the question? I think Ukpai is raising his hand. Is it? Ukpai. All right. Ukpai, here's a question for you. What would be the best way to refer someone from Toastmasters to a sponsor or hiring executive?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topic Master. What would be the best way to refer someone from Toastmaster to a sponsor or hiring executive? I believe one of the things we do here is not just to hear speeches. It's not just to come and speak, have a role. It is also about connection. When we were having our social networking, one of the things I remember you asking Somia a little bit about herself, and she took time to tell us who and where she is coming from. To a large extent, that gives an understanding of who she is. She could have been the one saying she does this or does that. When I meet another Toastmaster who has a need that can't be met by Somia, it would be important for me to be able to now, because I already know what Somia does, and I will be able to say, hey, Ben, hey, Kim, you are looking for this. I think this person can provide this. And what I want us to take away from this is a very important question. Our coming together is not just for us to meet our own needs on our own way of attending and speaking and filling a role, but there's need for connection, a need beyond just attending meeting. We, in our different areas, based on our diversity, experience, and where we find ourselves, we have something that might meet the need of the other person. There's need for us to go beyond just coming to listen and to speak. Connection. Take it back to you, Mr. Table Topic Master.
Wow, wonderful way to encourage everyone to have great connections, not just give presentations, but connect and encourage one another. Thank you. Wonderful job on that. With that, let's keep the energy going, that grateful, joyful exuberance, this gay spirit, and ask our guests for today, Shoma, to jump on and give it a shot. Are you ready, Shoma?
Yes,
Here's
I
a
am.
very, very easy question for you. Yeah, right. What can you do to move out of your comfort zone tomorrow morning at work? What can you do to move out of your comfort zone tomorrow morning at work?
Yeah, I think the way Jorge started his speech, like communication, it's so important in public sector that I also have learned through my experience. So if you say what would I like to do to make a big difference or just to stretch my comfort zone, I would like to give a nice presentation, or maybe I would like to go and talk with the president, or at least I can also try to conduct a meeting. When we will be doing professional meeting, I can try to manage the meeting or lead the meeting in such a way so that the communication can go easily, well and fro. And I would also like to take good notes so that after the meeting, I can remember what are the main points, and based on that, I can work on the project. So usually I go to a meeting, but I'm very shy. I don't ask questions, maybe sometimes thinking that, those questions might be right or wrong. But in order to stretch my comfort zone, I would like to ask questions, and I would also like to be more active participant in the meeting. Thank you. And thank you, Toastmaster.
Bravo, Shoma. You took a shot at that. We're so excited that you're engaging and participating. I'm so excited that everyone is doing this as much as possible. Wonderful. Everyone, please make sure you're encouraging one another. Mr. or Toastmaster, are we still okay for one or two more questions or not? One more question.
I think we can go for one more.
One more. Great. Rhonda, are you ready to unmute yourself?
Go for it.
Why should I promote you to a higher role? If your executive were to ask you that, why should I promote you to a higher role?
Because I deserve it. My performance has exemplified my productivity, my communication with others, and utilizing my transparency on in communications, also by me performing the task and going beyond the duties of call, utilizing synergy with my team members, and just producing.
Keep going. I know you can do it.
I'm stumped.
Green light is on. Green light is on. All right. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Thank you for taking a shot at this. I hope these questions were not your run-of-the-mill questions. I purposefully hope that they moved you out of your comfort zone. I hope that they are beneficial. In order to have greater benefit, don't let it that just be for this moment. But I want you to copy these questions. Practice giving them privately. If you record your answers 4 to 5 times to each of these questions, by the 4th or 5th time, you would have improved. You took your first shot here, tried 4 more times after you get off this meeting or in the next couple of days, and watch what happens to your responses, because these are the kind of questions that will determine whether you will have a greater impact and increase your gaiety outside of Toastmasters and inside of our organization. Thank you very much. Back to our Toastmaster.
We are coming back to our program. So since we have only one speaker today, so we are going to be going for our last section of our meeting, that is evaluations. So for Jorge Alba, so I would like to invite our president Ukpai to give us the feedback. Mr. Ukpai.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Jorge, congratulations once again for showing the skill you have acquired for this while you've been in Toastmaster. My evaluation for you tonight will be what you did well and what you need to improve on. First of all, you had an intro, a way of announcing yourself ahead of your presentation. People had an understanding of who you are and what to expect from you. I think that was a good one. You also gave an outline. People were able to know where you're coming from and where you're ending, which is very good. I also want to commend the delivery style. You chose interactive question and answer, which made the audience to be connected with your presentation and also gave a kind of additional perspective to your presentation, which I think is very good and a way to go. The project you're working on is actually a reflection of your dynamic leadership parts. I was listening and you were able to mention some specific projects that actually strikes out that made so much meaning to you and to the audience. And I think that was key to your presentation. So that was a good thing you did. I had already written as something to advise, but while you were concluding, a call for action was really right for this, your presentation, and which you did very well. And you gave the benefits you have received as being part of Toastmaster and calling others to also do that, but not to do the mistake you made by delaying it until now. Is there anything to improve on? I like the interactive approach, but I think I need to caution. You might need to be sure that the question you're asking will not be something people need to spend some of your time or most of your time answering that question because you struggle with time because you didn't have the time of managing those people you asked the question. So you need to be aware of that and need to ask questions that should be able to help you. Because of the problem of time, your conclusion was not, you were not able to make a conclusion. So time is important. All the whole, your presentation, I learned so much from it, and I believe you connected with the audience. I give it to you.
Bye.
Thank you. Good
Bye.
night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, Ukpai, could you
Good
stay
night.